The acro and tumbling team took to the mats, and our cameras were there for all the excitement. Baseball head coach Jay Snyder stops in to tell us what the Wolves are up to on the diamond this season, and we'll meet some Newberry College students who are helping local residents make sense of tax season. All this and the latest scores from across Newberry athletics coming up on Wolves Weekly. From the Langford Center studios at Newberry College, this is Wolves Weekly. I'm Al Della Chica. The Newberry College acrobatics and tumbling team may be new, but it's off to a busy start. Since it began competition last month, the team has competed against 4 teams, and although they have yet to post their first win, each match has shown signs that the team is improving. On Saturday, the acro and tumbling team faced Wingate at Eliezer Arena. It was the team's 4th match, and our cameras were there. Tucker Moore has the report.
On Saturday, March 1st in Eliezer Arena, the acrobatics and tumbling team competed against the Wingate Bulldogs at 1 p.m. These two teams competed in 6 different events throughout the contest. The first portion was a compulsory event which consisted of 4 different heats and was then followed by 3 heats within the acro event. Following that was the pyramid event, which then brought the 2 teams to halftime. Coming out at halftime, the teams then competed in the toss event, tumbling event, and finished with the team event. In the compulsory event, the Wolves competed in 4 different sections within the event, where they scored 3.7 in the acro heat, 6.1 in the pyramid heat, 4.25 in the toss heat, and ending the event scoring 0 points in the tumbling heat, giving the Wolves a total score of 14.05 for the event, to Wingate's 30.8 points. Next, the 2 teams competed in the acro event. This event has 3 different heats, which consist of the 5-element, 6-element, and 7-element. The Wolves scored 6.8 points in the 5-element, 4.05 in the 6-element, and finished the event by scoring 5.55 in the 7-element. For the event total, the Wolves scored 16.4 points, bringing their total score to 30.45. Wingate University scored 25.25 points in the event, bringing their total to 56.05. After that, both teams competed in the pyramid event, which is comprised of 3 different heats. The Wolves scored 8.25 in the inversion heat, 5.7 in the synchronized heat, and 8 points in the open heat. The Wolves scored 21.95 points in the event, bringing their total score to 52.4. Wingate scored 27.45 in the event, bringing their total score to 83.5. Next, both teams competed in the toss event, which also consisted of 3 different heats. Newberry did not compete in the 450 Slato heat, but scored 4.65 in the synchronized heat and 7.15 in the open heat. For the event total, they scored 11.8 points, bringing their total score to 64.2. Wingate scored 23.6 points in the event, bringing their total score up to 107.1. Following that, both teams competed in the tumbling event, which included 6 different heats. The Wolves scored 3.7 in the duo heat, 5.05 in the trio heat, 0 in the quad heat, 5.9 in the aerial heat, 6.775 in the 6-element, and ended the event scoring 6.875 in the open heat. For the event, the Wolves scored 28.3 points, bringing their total score to 92.5. Wingate scored 45.975 in the event, bringing their total score to 153.075. Following that, the last event of the competition was the team event, but Newberry did not compete in this event. This brought the meet to a conclusion, where Newberry came in second place with a final score of 92.5 to Wingate's 228.25. They now fall to 0-4 on the season, but are hoping to come away with their first win of the season in their next meet, which will be March 13th, where they travel to Greenwood to face off against Lander University. Tucker Moore, NCTV.
And the acro and tumbling team posts another loss, but comes away with a new record of 92.5 points. The total possible was 131.5. They'll take the lessons learned from this weekend's meet into their next match at Lander on March 13th. And I think, one thing that you have to kind of think about, especially when you have a team just getting off the ground, two major challenges that any coach and their staff face. And that's number one, building the team from the ground up, getting the coaches, first of all, to make a framework for that team. And then the recruiting, which probably ask any coach, and that's going to go onward and on and on and on, always trying to get those best athletes to compete for your team. So anyway, those are the challenges. We'll have a little bit more about that as well at the end of the show. Wolves Weekly will continue in a moment.
My dad was a farmer. The guy was bigger than life. He wasn't someone that liked to show his emotion or liked to show when he was struggling, but we all struggle. I want to show emotion to my kids. It's something that brings me so much joy, and I want them to see me working through things. Allow your kids to know that it's okay to struggle, that even dad doesn't know the answer sometimes, but we're gonna figure it out together.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Welcome back to Wolves Weekly. I'm Tucker Moore, and today I'm joined by head baseball coach Jay Snyder. How are you doing today, Coach?
Pretty good, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to have you. So just getting into things, I wanted to get into your backstory, how you got into coaching, when did you realize you had an ambition for coaching, and what opportunities allowed you to get your foot in the door with coaching?
I think personally it started way back when in high school, I don't think there was a lot of need for a 5'11", 200 and some pound hitter first baseman that, wasn't a home run hitter. So how could I stay in the game and really not have a full-time job that you have to really work? I mean, this is work, but this is what a passion, it's a love. So I would go back to high school. And then really my first opportunity is I went to a junior college, Keystone College at the time. And when I left there, the head coach said, hey, in 2 years when you're done playing at LaSalle, I want you to come back and be one of my assistants. So that really kind of opened up the door for me. And I spent 4 years there and 2 summers in the New England Collegiate League. It's a summer league, and we were in Connecticut. And just so one of our players knew the previous coach that was here, 2 previous coaches that was here before me. And they were looking for a hitting guy, and I interviewed and got the job. And then 2 years into my tenure here, that guy got replaced by Russell Triplett, and I was lucky and fortunate, so I was with him for 14 years, and here I am.
Yeah, sometimes it's all about who you know.
Yeah, well, you got a little bit of luck on your side too, so.
That's right. So most of your coaching experience being as an assistant, now being a head coach, what's been the biggest adjustment you've had to make?
I think ultimately the biggest adjustment that you got to make is that as an assistant, you're usually in charge of, one position, one group, whether it's offense or if it's on the pitching side of things. And that's really what you're focused on. And, you don't have to deal with a lot of the other things that as a head coach, you have to deal with. You're either recruiting or you're coaching, and those are the things you love. Now, as a head coach, I don't just worry about one side of the ball. I got to worry about all the different positions, and I want to spend some time with the infielders, with the infield coach, just learning from him, and spend some time with the pitchers. That way, when it comes into crucial parts of the game, you can you have a feel because you've been around them and kind of have a pulse on things. So I think that was kind of the biggest change for me. That, and that phone never seems to stop ringing. You're always dealing with everything, and meetings. Those are a little bit different too. But no, I wouldn't change it, man.
Awesome. And kind of piggybacking off of that, what's been the most rewarding part of being a head coach now?
I think just being a coach in general, and being a leader of young men, and trying to create leaders of tomorrow. Whether you're a head coach or you're assistant coach, you still have a role to play. And I've been doing this now since my 21st year of college coaching, and won a lot of championships in my time. We've won 2 here. I've won 4 at Keystone. And saw a lot of good players. A lot of guys go on, play professional. But I think the biggest, most rewarding thing that I've seen is when you make an impact in someone's life and they tell you thank you. That's important to me.
That's awesome. That's very true. So beyond wins and losses, they say numbers don't lie. How can you measure success for this team beyond just the stats?
I think for this program, it's I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. I think for us, I don't make any promises, but except this one. And anytime we're recruiting a player, the one promise that I will make them is not playing time, not that, but I will promise them that they will be more prepared the day they leave here than the day that they came in. And we take a lot of pride in that. And we're hard on them academically, and it's led to a lot of success academically. I think we've won the SAC Conference GPA title 11 years in a row. So I think just making sure that they're ready for life after baseball is probably pretty much really rewarding.
That's really important for their development going forward. It was a pleasure having you, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
And good luck to you and your boys on the rest of your season.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having us. Good luck here.
To find more about the baseball team, for scheduling, scores, and updates, you can go to newberrywolves.com. Wolves Weekly will be back in a moment.
Yo, camping buddy. Okay, you guys ready?
Dude, I thought you were driving.
I thought you were driving.
Oh, I never said I was driving.
I definitely can't drive.
Okay.
If you're high, just don't drive. It's illegal everywhere. If you feel different, you drive different.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without a high school diploma. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers.
Your achievement has set an example for so many students. Most importantly, your daughter.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free adult education centers near you.
NCTV, Newberry.
It's that time of year again when so many of us are worried about getting our income taxes filed before the April 15th deadline. But while many of us are able to get through the process without too much agony, other people have situations that make filing their taxes more complicated, or maybe they just need help figuring it all out. That's where a group of Newberry College students steps in to help. Victor Hennian and his team introduce us to the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program and how this group of students makes income tax season a less taxing time.
With the daunting tax season looming over, many need their taxes done, but not everyone is able to do so without help. Newberry College is attempting to help that problem with assistance of the Newberry accounting majors and their involvement in the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program.
I am very excited about the program we're doing. We're working with the cooperative ministry out of Columbia. We're working with the Newberry County Library and the Internal Revenue Service with the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, the VITA program. As the Newberry College accounting professor, I am working with students every day. And it's completely different when I stand up in the room and I talk about filing status and paying taxes in the state and for the federal government. However, when our students who are certified by the Internal Revenue Service, they take a class, they pass certification exams, when they're actually doing the tax return for one of our local residents, it's real because it's not, Dr. Edenfield in the front of the classroom talking about this. It's you working with Mr. and Mrs. Smith to prepare their tax return with their real life income and their real life implications and results. Our students get a lot from this. Our community gets a lot from this because we're providing a community service to people who may not enjoy doing their taxes. There probably aren't many of those. But this service is great because we work with low and middle income families and we provide this service for free.
I think it is a really huge benefit because we have a lot of people walking in that rather so can't afford to have their own private taxer. So for us to sit here and help them out means so much for this community as well as also to me, because that also gives me my internship and also gives me that insight on how to do this for my future self as well.
Well, basically what we do is the client will come in, we'll have them fill out some basic information just about themselves and about their work or their retirement, whatever. From there, we'll take their documents, make copies if we have to, and 1 week from today, whoever came in today to get theirs done, we'll have theirs ready. So if I just did somebody's return, Dr. Joe will look at it before next week, make sure everything's right, and that's simple. They come in, get it back, and ship it off.
It just provides help with taxes to those who are low-income families who may not have the benefit of going out and paying for an accountant to do their taxes for them. We all know that can be pretty pricey for some people, so it just helps those who are in need who might not have that benefit.
Last year we did over 100 tax returns for local residents. This year the goal is to hopefully do more, of course. I'm shooting for 150. Now think about that. We have 150 families who last year did their taxes with us. They know they had quality product, they know they got done, but our students got to practice on 100 different families and individuals here in the community. And it was a benefit to all involved. Our students get great experience, our clients get great service. And it's free. You can't beat that.
I would say just kind of given the area we're in, there's not very many people just lining up to do this for the community. So in that sense, I would think what we do makes an impact, which is a cool feeling, and it's kind of that time of year where everyone's panicking, trying to figure out how they're going to do it, where they're going to do it, how much money they're going to get. So to have us and to be able to provide that for people, I think, it feels good for me, so hopefully they feel good about it.
The Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program started this year on February 3rd and will continue through April 15th. Volunteers are available at the Newberry County Public Library on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and are also available at the Newberry Housing Authority's office on Grant Avenue on Monday afternoons. And you don't need an appointment. Those who are interested can contact Dr. Joe Edenfield here at the college for more details. Wolves Weekly will continue in a moment.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right.
How was it? Is it good?
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink, or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking, now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed, better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead, catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
It's something about having that piece of paper. Some people think that's worth more than my skills.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
You just gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Analytics and empathy. That's how I've gained clients.
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Thanks for hearing me out, bro.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Welcome back to Wolves Weekly. I'm Al Della Chica, along with Victor Hedian this week. And now let's get to the scoreboard and get you caught up with all the action that took place over the past week. It's the end of the season for the men's and women's basketball teams as the women's team unfortunately dropped their season finale against Lenore-Rhine 73-64 this past Saturday. Jess Tompkins led all scorers in the game with 26 points and 17 rebounds. The loss means the team dropped 15 out of their last 16 games and end up with a 6-22 overall record, 5-19 in the South Atlantic Conference. They finished 12th out of the 13.
For the men, Lenore-Rhine proved too much in the season finale as well, with the Bears coming out on top 98-85. The Wolves had an outside shot at the playoffs, but in the end, Wingate ends up one game ahead in the standings, and the Bulldogs take the final playoff spot. With the season over, the men's team ends up with a 13-15 overall record and 10-14 in the conference, finishing in 9th place. The team showed much improvement over the last year, where they only tallied 8 wins overall.
In men's wrestling, the Wolves posted their best performance of the season at the NCAA Division II Super Region Tournament held in Pembroke, North Carolina this past weekend. The team finished 3rd overall out of 15 teams competing and placed 4 wrestlers in the NCAA championships. John Parker repeated as Super Region champion at 197 pounds. Andrew Reed won his first Super Region title at 184 pounds. Cale Schrader finished 3rd at 285 pounds. And Braden Tatum also took 3rd at 141 pounds. All 4 advanced to the national championships in Indianapolis, Indiana, to be held on March 13th and 14th.
The Newberry acrobatics and tumbling team scored a season-high 92.5 points in the matchup against Wingate at Eliezer Arena this past Saturday. But it was not enough as they dropped the match by the score of 243 to 92.5. Newberry returns to action on March 13th at Lander.
In women's lacrosse, the team coming away with a 14-12 hard-fought victory over UVA Wise on the road, where the Wolves scored in every quarter and at one point led 5-0. But the Cavaliers would not give up. They trailed by 2 goals most of the second half, but the Wolves would not give in, ultimately taking the 2-goal victory. The win means that the record now sits at 4-1 on the season. They will host Belmont Abbey this week.
For the men, the lacrosse team delivered a dominating performance at Setzler Field, defeating Young Harris 17-5. The Wolves led 11-1 at the half and shared the love with 10 different players finding the back of the net. The win gives the men's team their first winning record of the season at 3-2. They will be on the road this Saturday against Tusculum University.
And in baseball, the team was on the road to take on the Saints of Limestone University this past weekend, where they dropped the first 2 games of the series, being shut out 9-0 on Friday and then 10-0 in the first game on Saturday. However, they rebounded in the finale, taking that game 8-2. The team now sitting at 12-7 for the season as they will face off against North Greenville University in a midweek tilt on the road before traveling to Hickory this weekend for a 3-game set against the Bears of Lenore-Rhine.
In softball, the Wolves dropped a doubleheader to North Greenville last Wednesday by the scores of 10-2 and 6-3, before coming back home and completing a 3-game sweep over Chowan. Newberry took Game 1 on Friday 10-7 and completed the sweep on Saturday with the scores of 7-2 and 4-1. The squad is now 10-15 overall as they begin conference play with a midweek doubleheader against Carson Newman on the road and Mars Hill at home this coming weekend.
And finally in tennis, the Wolves knocked out Emory and Henry on Saturday by the score of 4-0, with both men's and women's teams getting the singles and doubles points for the shutout. They'll match up against Wingate this week for their next match. And don't forget that you can find out more about the tennis team and all of Newberry other teams at newberrywolves.com. There you'll find the latest scores and game summaries, full roster information, game schedules, ticket information, and so much more. It's all available anytime, anywhere you are at newberrywolves.com. And you know, Victor, a lot of great information there, a lot of teams still in action. Of course, the spring sports going along. But we mentioned it a little bit earlier in the broadcast about especially first-year teams. You know, we've had a lot of news about the teams, and they're doing pretty good. That's the main thing. But I got to figure, you know, that's a real challenge, isn't it?
It definitely can't be easy. Having new students come in each term and each semester, as well as your most experienced students leaving during the same time. So each new season, you got a whole new, fresh batch of recruits. It's got to be rather challenging.
I've always thought that, especially starting in high school as well as college, you know, coaching at those levels has got to be one of the most difficult things around, by what you just mentioned, the constant turnover of players and all of that. But remember, recruiting will go on just year round now. I mean, we've talked to some of the coaches. We've brought them in for interviews here at Wolves Weekly. So they'll let you know about that. But then the other thing is the coaching staffs. You know, you've got to form a solid foundation to start a team from the ground up. That's a challenge in and of itself. And then, as you mentioned, staffing that team year after year after year. And so we're looking at good things, you know, for those teams that ended up, okay, maybe not as good as we had wanted them to. There's no place to go but up. That's the good thing. And I know they'll get going, right? Especially those first-year coaches. Once they get their systems in place, once they get those recruits coming in, you know, kind of adhering to their vision of it, I think things will get a lot better, I would imagine.
I think they start to gain a pretty good skill of being able to start it again. Well, that's all for this edition of Wolves Weekly. I'm Victor Henyon.
And I'm Al Della Chica. Stay tuned with us every week for more Wolves Weekly.
When you can't get to the game, Wolves Weekly gets all of the excitement of the game to you. Available on Flow Sports and produced by NCTV Newberry.